Hello, Cohort 24, and welcome to Group Three's presentation on Lencioni's book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Lencioni describes the challenges an organization faces as they try to grow into a cohesive unit. These challenges are broken down into five dysfunctions, which include the absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. Before we begin this presentation, watch this clip from the film Remember the Titans. At the heart of every great movie, there is an opportunity to learn from conflict. The five dysfunctions of the team are illustrated in this clip. So sit back, and we hope you enjoy.
You look like a bunch of fifth grade sissies after a cat fight. You got anger, that's good. You're gonna need it, son. You got aggression, that's even better. You're gonna need that too. But any little 2-year-old child can throw a fit. Football is about controlling that anger, harnessing that aggression into a team effort to achieve perfection. When you put that uniform on, that Titan uniform, you better come to work.
I think you're nothing. Nothing but a pure waste of God-given talent. You don't listen to nobody, man. You can't run over everybody in this league, and every time you do, you leave one of your teammates hanging out to dry. What was that, Ray? Whatever it is, it ain't blocking.
Give me a break.
You want a break? I'll give you a break. Me and Julius...
Wait a minute, just let him
Get to
in.
Rev once, just one time. I swear to God, I'm gonna hit you so hard by the time you come to, ooh, boy, you're gonna need a new haircut. You understand me? Let's play, fellas. You all right, Big Petey? You all right? You really stuck him, Campbell. Yeah, I love it. Little contact, Petey. This is left side. Strong side. Left side. Strong side. Left side. Strong side. Left side. Left side. Let me ask you something, Mr. Campbell. What kind of power you got?
Oh, man, you know I got some soul power.
What kind of power you
What
got?
kind of question is that? I got soul power.
Yes, you do.
Right on. Let me ask you something now, Mr. Bertier.
Yes.
How strong are you?
I'm too strong.
What? How strong?
I'm too
How
strong.
strong?
Too strong.
Right on.
I want a victory.
Oh, I want a victory.
I want a victory.
I want a victory.
You want victory?
I love how this film describes the dynamics of the young football team and its ability to adapt and adjust with one another. There is no one superstar, as they have to work together to be successful as a team. Similar to the workplace, we all come from different backgrounds, education, and experiences. We're not the same, and our unique differences can help us build. Throughout this presentation, you will learn more about the five dysfunctions of a team and how this knowledge can help you to become a strong leader. We hope you enjoy, and we'll begin our first part of our presentation from my team member, Audie Wood.
Out by talking about trust. And trust is, there's a reason that it is the foundation of the pyramid in Patrick Lencioni's book, or in his story. Because without trust, everything else that my colleagues are going to discuss is absolutely irrelevant. And I boldly say that because a lack of trust in any form of relationship causes dysfunction and a failure of that relationship. If you're married or you're in a committed relationship and someone breaks that trust, or if you don't trust that the person that you are, committed to leave your sight, and that causes you to get anxious, well, that anxiety and that lack of trust causes animosity, and eventually that relationship ends. What is a friend but someone you turn to whenever you need to workshop problems and solutions to that problem? Well, if you want to be able to workshop problems, well, you need to trust that you can share your feelings and confidence. If that friend breaks that confidence, well, then all of a sudden there's a crack in that trust, and that friendship is harmed. And the same thing goes whenever it comes to professional relationships, which is what Patrick Lencioni's book is all about. As he points out, without trust, you do not feel comfortable sharing your feelings about the directions of a project. The reason that this project has gone so well is because my teammates and I are willing to, we feel comfortable sharing our opinions about the direction that it's going. Why? Because we trust one another. We trust one another's opinions to, have some form of validity. As he also points out, without trust, you do not feel as if a relationship can withstand one person calling out the other. Getting back to my teammates in this project alone, the reason that I am enjoying a team project for the first time is because whenever we have had to criticize or critique the project, it's not been in a way where it's personal or it's going to hurt our feelings, and all of a sudden our friendships are going to, dissolve. Therefore, we feel comfortable saying, "Hey, I don't like this," or we need to do something different. And again, building off of the first 2 points. Without trust, you do not feel as if criticism can be seen as building someone up rather than tearing someone down. An important part of being a good teammate is criticizing them so that you can point out a flaw that can be fixed so that that teammate and therefore the team can be stronger going forward. None of that is possible without trust. And having said that, I'm going to allow my colleagues now to build on this.
Thanks, Adi. Hello, Cohort 24. Adi, thank you for leading us into our discussion on the 5 dysfunctions of a team with trust. I would just like to stamp the role of a leader in trust is to build trust by exhibiting vulnerability, being genuine, to encourage engagement, as well as to lead by example, as we see our lioness here who is leading her cubs. Now I want to get deeper into the second dysfunction and conflict. We know that conflict is inevitable in any partnership, whether it be marriage, whether it be friendships, parenthood. Lord, don't I know? Parenthood, I'm a mother of 4, so definitely conflict along the way. But most importantly, there is going to be conflict in our work relationships. So let's dig deeper into the fear of conflict. By definition, conflict is a natural response within an organization with the goal of providing open and honest communication among its team members. Here, it is important to be able to distinguish productive conflict from destructive fighting. Conflict should be limited to concepts and ideas and avoid personality-focused and mean-spirited attacks. Teams should engage in productive conflict with a sole purpose to produce the best possible solution for the team. Now here we want to look at this chart and understand what healthy conflict is and what healthy conflict is not. What it is not is adversarial. It is not hostile. It is not about the person. And it's definitely not about winning or losing. What it is being respectful, having focused listening and learning, dynamic, it is engaging, and it's a sharing of information amongst the team. Now, Lencioni tells us that when teams fear conflict, There are boring meetings. They create environments for back-channel politics to thrive. They avoid controversial topics that are critical to the team's success. Teams don't utilize the full talents and perspectives of the members of the team, and they waste time and energy posturing. Now, when teams engage in conflict, then we know that meetings are lively. The team exploits all ideas of its members. They solve problems quickly. Politics are minimized, and crucial topics are faced head on. Again, to stamp the role of a leader, we know there are many aspects to leadership when managing people, right? The list goes on, but here I want to stamp these 3 things that are important to managing teams. Demonstrate restraint. Don't be so quick to jump in. Demonstrate some restraint. Allow team members to find a resolution naturally. It's okay as a leader to guide them in that direction if we know that the team is getting off course, but we also want to allow the team to come to that resolution naturally. And again, so important here as a leader, we always want to model appropriate behavior. So it goes back to that line as leading her cubs when we talked about trust. We always want to lead by example, and we want to model the behavior in which we want to see. So Samuriel will talk to us a little bit more about our 3rd dysfunction, commitment.
Hello everyone, this is Samuriel and I'm going to be talking about dysfunction number 3, which is a lack of commitment. Okay, so when it comes to the lack of commitment, there are 2 the greatest causes for that, and the first one is a desire for consensus. It is a misconception when it is believed that everyone has to be in 100% agreement to make a decision or commit to a cause. The truth is that everyone does not have to agree in order to buy in. Real humans only need to be able to voice their opinions and know that it has been considered when supporting a decision to buy in. So this need or else thought that everyone has to buy in or else has to be 100% in agreement is totally not true. You just need people to be able to buy in. So it doesn't mean that I necessarily agree or that I believe that you know this is the best route to take. But right now, that is the best decision for me, is to support my team, and so I'm gonna buy in, and that's just what it is. When we talk about the greatest cause for the second one, it is the need for certainty. Many people, I being one of them, I struggle with committing to things without knowing how successful it will be in the long run. So for me, I'm someone that has to be able to see, far ahead, and I'm going to need everything in advance in order for you to convince me that this is the right thing to do. However, when it comes to a team setting, that's not the best route to take because we have to be able to commit even when we're unsure if it is the right thing for the team to do. It is better to make a decision and be wrong than to not make a decision at all and just not submit anything, because when you're working on team projects and in a team setting, there's always something to submit. And if we're in limbo the whole time and because I'm just not certain on it, we're not going to reach our goals that way. And here are 3 tips that can help or else to consider when we talk about the lack of commitment. One is safeguarding against your biases. Harvard Business Review speaks about this from an emotional intelligence, self-awareness aspect. Bias can enter into our decision making in many ways. So when we are struggling to commit, it's important to identify our personal biases and how they might color our interpretations without even being aware of it. And so this means understanding that we may be missing key facts or data or data that's being presented to us due to bias, which can lead to our lack of commitment. Next is feedback is a gift, not a curse. So the fear of sharing ideas or input due to the worry of negative feedback or unexpected feedback can lead to a lack of commitment. We should all be aiming to share our opinions, and an ideal group will consider everyone's input into the final decision. And then we have, how do I get from here to there? Um, we have to ask ourselves individually as a team member, how do I get from the side of uncertainty and doubt to buying in for the team's greater good? And so I know that we're thinking about it from the team aspect, but we really have to consider it from an individual standpoint as well, because ultimately this is a personal and individual issue when it comes to lack of commitment. So we have to be self-aware and sort of try to figure out what it is inside of us. How can we get ourselves from here to there? What can get us from that uncertain and doubtful point to buying in to support my team so that we can be successful? Okay, so when we talk about the role of the leader, it is so important for the leader to be comfortable with making a decision that turns out to be wrong. As the leader, the team can get stuck in that limbo of, 30% is saying, I still have doubts, and then, you can have another 70% that is solid and they're ready to move forward. And ultimately, not everyone is in agreement, but everyone is going to have to be able to buy in. And if everyone is still in that whole limbo of uncertainty, or if there is some uncertainty, it comes down to that leader to make that decision to say, let's move forward. They are the ones who are going to push the group for closure around issues, because there has to be someone that is going to keep us all on track here. And this is why that like leader urges at adherence to schedules that the team has set. Because if we're working up on a team project or else a team group, whatever the case may be, ultimately we have a time commitment goal here that has to be accomplished. And so this is where the role of the leader steps in, and they step into their role of the leader and they take the reins of seeing that we are successful as a group. And so lastly, when we talk about commitment as a team, we're talking about, Lencioni tells us that commitment is when the team accepts and agrees on a decision. So when a team is committed, they develop the courage to hold each other accountable for the success of the organization. And really, that's what it's all about when we talk about lack of commitment. It refers to our accountability, and us personally. We have to hold ourselves accountable so that we can be our best versions of ourselves and offer that to our team so that ultimately we can be successful together in the long run. And so, whatever it may be in terms of a team setting and issues around the whole point of the lack of commitment, definitely take on those 3 tips that can be very helpful in seeing success when it comes to lack of commitment individually, and then offering that up into like the bigger scope of lack of commitment from a team member standpoint. And so now we're going to be hearing from LaRonda, who is going to be talking about dysfunction number 4, which is the lack of accountability.
Hello, Cohort 24. My name is LaRonda Williams, and it gives me great pleasure to present the last 2 dysfunctions of this presentation. And those dysfunctions are accountability and inattention to results. We learned from our readings in the Harvard Business Review that group effectiveness is all about trust amongst members, a sense of group identity, and a sense of group intent. Williams teaches us that leaders challenge the issue and not the individual. As it relates to our emotional intelligence, we learned from Bricio that this intelligence takes time. But once a leader acknowledges it and recognizes its self-worth, that connection, that leadership can bring out the best in all of its team members. And then finally, in Lencioni's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, one of the most important competency that any leader can have is a sense of vulnerability, as that vulnerability can result in building trust. Now, this vulnerability can come in the form of conducting assessments on ourselves, and then taking those results and teaching our team members about these assessments. For our team members to feel comfortable in conducting assessments on themselves, and that leaders can demonstrate the reality that we're not all perfect. And once that vulnerability and trust is developed, we open the doors of communication. And it is important that we realize that it is okay that we disagree, but that we come together and that we acknowledge other people's views and work together to form one conclusion. We remove that fear of conflict and we hold each other accountable, because peer-on-peer accountability, we don't want to bring each other down. But as a team, as it relates to results, we realize that results are formed as a unit and not by the individual. When we're able to bring all of these dysfunctions together, learn from our mistakes, be humble, be vulnerable to the fact to show our team members that, again, we're not all perfect. Our team members walk away realizing that we're cohesive. And once we become cohesive, we become one unit. So why is accountability so important? The best form of accountability is peer-to-peer. Lencioni advised that peer pressure is powerful, as team members don't want to disappoint each other. The most difficult role a leader can take is to hold his team members accountable. For without it, team members will start to believe that the results don't matter. And when they start to believe that the results don't matter, they'll start focusing on themselves instead of the whole team. As leaders, it's important that team members understand that the success of a work environment is the success of the entire team and not the individual. So to conclude, leadership is all about teaching and development. It's the opportunity to advance an organization to become profitable and sustainable. This is the goal of Lencioni's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, which is to help leaders grow cohesive teams. As the best way to do this is to acknowledge your worth as a leader and to understand your own emotional intelligence. Below you will see a link to an assessment that we all encourage you to copy and to participate. This will be the best way to see yourself as who you are. We encourage you to read the results of your team members, be vulnerable, recognize that conflict is good, allow and encourage peer-on-peer accountability, and encourage your team members to understand that conflict can be healthy. Emphasize we and not I. And most importantly, remember, when team members are inspired, the results will follow. On behalf of all of us in Group 3, we hope you were able to learn something from this presentation as we provide you some tools that you can use to become strong and effective leaders. Take care, and most importantly, all the best.